I'd like to now turn to Kotter's dual operating system. This comes from Kotter's book, Accelerate, which builds upon what he did earlier in Leading Change. Leading Change, as most people will know, focused on the 8 key problems that organizational change managers face and how to overcome those. It's not a methodology as much as it is a framework. When Kotter shifted into Accelerate, he brought out the dual operating system because he was then focusing not on episodic change, but in Accelerate, he was trying to focus on continuous change. And he saw problems with the traditional operating system and added a dual system. What he actually did was create a shadow system behind the traditional hierarchy. The shadow system is really a network that shortens the lines of communication, but he did retain the traditional hierarchy. So what you then have is a traditional decision-making authority and control structure in place, and connected to that is a secondary network that makes the connections that the traditional hierarchy often fails to make. So it's really kind of a Band-Aid workaround, but to many extents, it's also what might be called half-baked compared to some of the other organizations we're about to talk about. One of the advantages is that ad hoc teams can easily come into being to investigate problems and opportunities. This is easily accomplished with a mechanism to initiate and coordinate the changes. So there is some real benefit, and there are a few organizations in the world, but mostly smaller organizations that are using the dual operating system. But it also comes with some limitations. And the limitations emerge with really little guidance about how to accomplish or repair the problems associated with the limitations. For example, the traditional hierarchy remains in place. So while you've got a dual operating system that helps with communication, helps with carrying out change, it still is being done within the traditional hierarchy. It also has a formal charter of volunteers, which I find rather interesting in that you can volunteer and you can initiate the formation of new network structures in the dual system, but it needs some formalization from the hierarchy to really get it chartered for having any authority. It also comes with no cross-organizational alignment, and that these can pop up, and the only alignment would then come from the traditional hierarchy and the control from that hierarchy and how they formalize these new teams that are developing within the dual system. But again, it's an interesting structure because it is attempting to address some of the problems that a hierarchy has, and doing so with a network structure.